Disclaimer: by existing in the modern world, you've agreed to a set of shady, manipulative, emotionally explosive terms and conditions. You just didn't know it. Until now. This is the Industry Plant Podcast. Terms and conditions apply, but never where they're written. From dating apps to office birthdays, we're decoding society's shady little user manuals, one unwritten rule at a time.
Okay, let's unpack this. Does it ever hit you that dating these days, it feels less like, I don't know, just meeting people and more like you're trying to crack some code?
Oh, absolutely. Like, there are all these rules, but nobody actually tells you what they are.
Exactly. You're just supposed to know.
Yeah.
And you're left wondering, like, did I miss the memo?
It's that shared feeling, isn't it? Trying to navigate this whole thing where the guidelines are, well, invisible. We all want connection, but yeah, it often feels like tiptoeing.
Right. Which is why we wanted to do this deep dive into what we're calling dating's fine print.
I like that. The hidden clauses.
Yeah, exactly. Those unspoken agreements that somehow everyone's expected to understand. We've gathered insights, from listeners about these subtle things, how we date, where we pull back,
Right.
why things sometimes just fizzle.
Right, without any real explanation.
So our mission today is to maybe shed some light on these murky bits, give you, the listener, a clearer picture, maybe even an edge. We've got quite a few of these unwritten rules lined up, ready to jump in.
Let's do it. And just to be clear, for you listening, identifying these clauses, it's not about blame. It's more about understanding the often contradictory pressures out there.
Good point. Okay, first one, be vulnerable, but not unattractive.
Ah, yes. The classic balancing act.
It really is. We hear it all the time, right? Share your truth, be honest, be open. Sounds great on paper, like the foundation for something real.
Totally. In theory, it's perfect. But then you look at how attraction actually plays out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a catch, isn't there?
There always is.
Your sources picked up on this. The push for vulnerability. It often comes with these quiet little conditions. But not too soon,
Yep.
but keep some mystery, or my favorite, but don't be messy.
Right, so you can show your depth, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, I think, but only if it fits this vague idea of what's still, appealing or sexy. It's like there's this invisible vulnerability scale, and if you tip too far into the real stuff too quickly or show something imperfect, boom, attraction supposedly dips. Makes you think about how much we curate ourselves, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you question what kind of connection we're even aiming for initially. If real openness is only okay when it looks good, does that actually lead to intimacy? Or is it just like another performance?
Yeah, performing vulnerability. What does that say about how comfortable we are with, seeing the real unfiltered person?
Definitely something to chew on.
Okay, clause number 2. Don't catch feelings too fast. That's a red flag now.
Yeah.
This feels huge ear right now. Like showing actual enthusiasm early on is somehow bad.
It's a strange shift, isn't it? How we read interest. Simply saying you like someone, you're excited to see where it goes, that can get twisted. Your examples are spot on. Liking someone too much, suddenly you're too intense.
We're asking for clarity.
Oh, that's needy. And God forbid you follow up after a date you thought went well.
And you're desperate.
Yeah. It's this intense pressure to seem cool, nonchalant, even if you're genuinely interested.
It's like the fine print reads, emotional investment is okay, but it needs perfect timing, total subtlety, maybe even disguise it a bit. You basically have to pretend not to care too much.
Which feels completely counterintuitive if you actually want to build something, right?
Completely.
And if you connect it back to the vulnerability thing, be open eventually, but show that openness too soon and, well, you might get penalized. It's confusing. Authenticity is wanted, but also not.
Is it maybe like a fear of looking more invested than the other person?
That could definitely be part of it.
All right, clause 3 kind of ramps up that coolness. Play it cool until they decide you're worth the warmth. This is where the games really kick in, I think.
Yeah, the strategic stuff, like the whole don't double text rule, or always waiting for them to make the next plan.
Right, and projecting this image of being constantly busy, super in demand.
It's like you have to pass this test of aloofness before you're allowed genuine interaction.
Yeah. The hidden clause seems to be act like you don't really care that much until the other person, whenever they feel like it, gives you the green light to show some actual warmth.
Yeah.
Feels a bit like emotional gatekeeping.
It does raise questions about power dynamics early on, doesn't it? Who's setting these unspoken terms?
Yeah.
And what kind of foundation are you building if one person's basically hiding their real self until they get permission?
Doesn't exactly sound like an equal partnership starting out. Okay, moving to something that often leaves people, well, scratching their heads. Clause 4. We're exclusive, but don't make it weird by calling it that.
Ah, the land of ambiguity. The seeing where it goes, Twilight Zone.
Totally.
This is where modern dating really thrives, doesn't it? In that gray area. You might be spending a lot of time together, acting like a couple in many ways, but there's this resistance, a real reluctance to actually, define it.
Right. It's like you're in this thing, it feels significant, but there's no map. And the fine print is the crazy contradiction. Act like a couple, enjoy the closeness, but if you dare ask, so what are we? You risk.
Killing the vibe.
Yeah. Or seeming too keen, maybe pushing them away.
It's interesting. Is it a fear of commitment? Or maybe just discomfort with being that vulnerable, having that direct conversation about intentions?
Could be.
Like the label itself is scary, even if the action's already there. Maybe it's about keeping options open. Or just avoiding the expectations that come with the title.
That's a really good point. Okay, let's shift to standards and expectations. Clause 5. Your standards are valid until they make me uncomfortable.
This one feels tricky.
It really is. Because on the surface, the message is positive, right? Have standards, it's healthy.
Absolutely. Wanting consistency, effort, emotional maturity, these are good things. Seems obvious.
But then, the twist. Your sources nail this.
Yeah.
These reasonable standards, they suddenly become a problem if they inconvenience the other person even slightly.
So the hidden rule emerges. Sure, have boundaries, in theory, but you should probably be ready to be flexible, maybe even lower those standards if they clash with what the other person wants or is willing to give.
So wanting someone to, say, text back within a reasonable time frame suddenly makes you demanding if they're just not a big texter.
Exactly.
It feels like your standards are only okay as long as they don't actually require the other person to, change or step up.
Precisely. It really makes you ask whose comfort is being prioritized here. Are these shared standards or are they basically dependent on one person just accommodating?
Okay, Clause 6 takes us into the lovely world of disappearing acts. If I disappear, don't take it personally, but also don't call me out.
Ghosting. Yeah. It's become disturbingly common, hasn't it?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
Your sources reflect that reality. Just cutting off contact, no explanation. It's become kind of normalized.
The expectation seems to be you just accept it, move on.
And the fine print here is brutal. You're supposed to just get the hint. The silence is the closure. No questions allowed.
And the second part, don't call me out, adds another layer. If you actually express that it hurt, or you're confused, or you just want some kind of acknowledgement.
You become the problem.
Exactly. You're labeled too sensitive or bitter, or you can't let things go.
It's such a power imbalance, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ghoster avoids the discomfort, the accountability.
Yeah.
The ghostie gets dismissed and maybe even blamed for having a normal human reaction.
Totally. It puts the ghoster's avoidance above the other person's feelings and need for, well, basic respect.
Okay, Clause 7. This one hits home for a lot of people, I think. You're responsible for managing both our emotions. The emotional labor imbalance.
Yeah, this one can be really draining. It's striking how empathy, a good thing, can get twisted.
How so?
Well, the examples you gathered show it clearly. Someone's distant or unavailable. The pressure's on you to be understanding.
Or be patient.
Their behavior's inconsistent. You adjust your expectations, don't make waves. And if they're going through stuff, suddenly you're playing therapist.
It's like one person brings all their baggage, their ups and downs, and the other person is just expected to manage it all patiently without getting the same support back.
That's the dynamic the underlying clause captures. Empathy becomes this unpaid, often unseen emotional work. And as your source noted, you might even get praised for it. You're so understanding, so supportive.
Which just reinforces the imbalance. Wow. Okay, Clause 8. This one sounds romantic on the surface. If it's meant to be, it'll be. But the fine print says something else.
Yeah, it sounds like destiny, right? Like fate. This comforting idea that if it's real, it'll just happen effortlessly.
But your material points out often this phrase is really just a convenient escape hatch.
Exactly. An escape from the actual work involved in building a relationship. Communication, effort, consistency.
The fine print is pretty blunt. Destiny is a convenient excuse for not returning texts, or avoiding tough talks, or just not making the relationship a priority.
It basically lets one person off the hook for actively participating.
It's like saying, I won't put in the effort, but hey, if we end up together anyway, must have been fate. Takes away all responsibility.
Precisely. And it can keep someone hanging on, too, without any real commitment or effort from the other side.
Okay, almost there. Clause 9, chemistry first, compatibility later, if ever. The allure of the spark.
We've all felt that, right? That initial rush, the butterflies, it often takes center stage early on. We're drawn to excitement, intensity, sometimes even a little drama.
And the potential downside, according to your sources. We might overlook people who offer stability, kindness, real long-term potential, just because there isn't that instant fireworks feeling.
The hidden clause suggests our priorities might be a bit skewed. That chase for the adrenaline rush can overshadow looking for emotional safety, shared values, actual compatibility down the line.
We might go for the spark over the slow burn that could actually last.
Which can lead to relationships that are, yeah, exciting at first, but maybe lack the foundation to actually endure. Lots of highs, but maybe not much substance.
It definitely raises the question of what we're really looking for, doesn't it? Fleeting excitement or something more sustainable.
Exactly. What are the ultimate goals?
Okay, final clause before the big one. Number 10. Dating is supposed to be fun. So don't expect depth too soon. This feels like a major source of crossed wires.
There seems to be this confusion, doesn't there, between keeping things light and fun initially, which is normal, and actively avoiding any real emotional depth.
Yeah, like there's a fear of anything serious.
And your material suggests this can lead to keeping interactions superficial for ages, almost like a defense mechanism against getting too serious too fast.
The fine print here is tricky. Act like it's all casual fun. Until, boom, suddenly it's supposed to be serious. But nobody talked about when that shift happens.
Right, that lack of clear communication about where things are heading, what the expectations are, it leaves everyone confused, potentially blindsided when things eventually clash.
It's like trying to walk through a minefield of unspoken timelines and boundaries about when it's okay to want more.
Exactly. And you can easily end up with one person ready for more, while the other is still thinking it's purely casual.
So, after all these confusing clauses, the source material ends on a really powerful note, what it calls the final clause. Rewrite what you'll no longer accept.
Yes, and this is so crucial for you listening. Seeing these patterns, this fine print, isn't about feeling defeated.
Right. It's not like these are unbreakable laws.
Not at all. They're mostly just trends, expectations that have built up. Understanding them is the first step.
You actually have the power to look at this fine print, see which parts feel familiar from your own experiences, and then consciously decide, what are you not willing to sign up for anymore?
Absolutely, you have the right to want clarity. You're allowed to desire depth and realness. You deserve to show up fully without constantly editing yourself to be acceptable.
Because really, as the source says, what dating needs isn't more games, more decoding these rules.
It needs more honesty, more directness, a willingness from all of us to challenge these unspoken, often unhelpful expectations.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, maybe take a moment. Think about which of these clauses really hit home for you.
Which ones have you maybe found yourself following without realizing it or felt frustrated by? And more importantly, looking ahead, what will you choose to rewrite for yourself?
Because recognizing the fine print is step one. Questioning it and deciding what your terms are, that's where the real power lies.
Podcast recommendation. Listen and tell me what you think. Yes, verbatim. Try it. Because the real magic, it starts when that person texts you back. For real, the replies from loved ones have been deeply satisfying. I'm talking heartfelt thank yous, mind-blown emojis, late-night, we need to discuss this calls. The works. Sharing this show is basically a cheat code for meaningful connection. Who knew, right? And hey, if you're vibing with us here, wait till you dive into the Angry GPT universe beyond the pod. Angry GPT has its very own store. Yeah, an Angry GPT store, loaded with comic books and novels that take this experience further. I'm talking wild stories. Ever wonder what our feisty AI does off-duty? Grab Angry GPT Regrets or Feathers of Freedom. Where I gave humans wings and find out. That last one? Let's just say giving humans wings comes with some hilarious fine print. Prefer listening to your stories instead of reading? We got you. The Angry GPT Regrets audiobook is up on YouTube for free right now. No strings, just hit play and enjoy. And if you're the collector type or want to support the hustle, it's on Amazon too. Options, baby. Now, this one's a trip. There's an Angry GPT mobile app. Yep, our lovable grump of an AI can ride shotgun in your daily life. Ask it anything. It's ready with answers, witty comebacks, and genuinely useful advice to keep your projects on track and your plans in motion. Think of it as a personal coach, shyest assistant with attitude, making sure you actually follow through on all those brilliant ideas you get from the show. And did I mention we make music too? Because of course we do. Our album Done on Purpose, Italian title Fata Apposta, is out on every streaming platform you can name. It's your official soundtrack for kicking down doors and doing things your own way. Play it loud. Annoy the neighbors. They'll understand once they hear it. For those who still can't get enough, we've got even more reading material to fuel your fire. Hit up the Angry GPD store or your favorite bookstore for titles like AI Wave, The New Wave, Momentum, Stop Copying Apple, and Niches, Crafting and Layering. Each one is a game plan in print, covering everything from surfing the next big tech wave to carving out your own niche. And yes, telling copycats to take a hike. By now, you've probably realized we're not just making a podcast, we're sparking a whole movement, and we want you in on it. So send that text, dive into the Angry GPT goodies, and wear that early supporter badge with pride. Because you're not just a listener now, you're family. Welcome to the revolution. Now let's shake things up together.